latest episode of my 10-minute moan, and the topic of this 10-minute moan is quite the outrageous situation where Keir Starmer has told the world that his transport minister doesn't talk on behalf of the government when she spoke about transport. It's quite a bizarre situation. So what's basically happened is the Transport Secretary has upset P&O, that's Louise Haigh, by wanting people to boycott them, right? Quite a bizarre situation. And then they were due to come to some meeting of investors and stuff, and they fell out and had to get sorted out by the Labour government. It's quite a bizarre story. So the Telegraph went to the story and the headline, P&O owner to attend investment summit after Starmer disowns the minister's boycott comments. The owner of P&O Ferries will now attend Sir Keir Starmer's investment summit after he disowned his Transport Secretary's call to boycott the company. DP World has confirmed it will turn up, that's a company that owns P&O, to the gathering of 300 business leaders on Monday following a flurry of late-night phone calls from Number 10 to patch up relations. A £1 billion investment into the UK, which the firm had threatened to cancel after Louise Haigh's reference to it as a cowboy operator, is also thought to be back on track. The announcement will come as a relief to Sir Keir, with the row over the Transport Secretary's remarks having overshadowed the build-up to the summit. It comes after Downing Street went to great lengths to persuade the firm and its furious chairman, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, not to cancel their attendance. Sir Keir personally disowned Ms Haigh's attack on DP World, which owns P&O, telling the BBC that her comments were not the view of the government. She's a Transport Secretary. The Telegraph understands that senior officials in Number 10 also called the company late on Friday night to further distance the Prime Minister from the remarks. A Downing Street source said the reason they're coming is because overnight we've operated as we do with seriousness, warm engagement and partnership. We've shown that we are sensible, serious partners. That's what is bringing these investors in on Monday, and that's how we've resolved this. It's understood that Sultan Sulayem will now attend the conference on Monday at which Sir Keir is hoping to raise billions in new investment in the UK. Interesting though, right? Because if you think he's having now these people into a meeting to look at investment, he would have cabinet ministers from other portfolios that kind of could maybe use the investment. You would think transport would be one and business and stuff. So you would think that these other cabinet ministers would be at this meeting. It's kind of going to be a bit awkward, isn't it? But the row has raised question mark over Ms Haigh's future amid suggestions Sir Keir will hold a cabinet reshuffle early next year. The Telegraph understands that her position is not under immediate threat and that the Prime Minister still retains full confidence in her. He's just told the world that she doesn't talk for the government. How much confidence can you have in her? Doubts have already been cast about her long-term future in his top team after she angered Number 10 by blindsiding it over the train driver's pay deal. Replacing her could also prove politically sensitive for Sir Keir, given that she's one of the few left-wing figures to sit around the cabinet table. It's mental when you think about it. You know, all this madness that's going on in this first 100 days of Labour government, and this transport minister manages to upset somebody that's looking to put £1 billion into transport in the UK. And I really don't know, why would anybody think that these comments are acceptable? Why would anybody with half a brain, right, be saying stuff like that? You would think that the people that will get as cabinet ministers would be sort of half sensible. But she'd been daft enough to say these things in the first place, and because of the political situation just now, it looks as if Sir Keir can't do anything other than keep her. Because to pap her would maybe upset the lefties in his party, and to pap her which sort of show up the government for what they are. Making these sort of comments in the first place. And it says, what a difference 2 years makes. Here's another thing ITV's Joe Hill said. On the 23rd of the 3rd, 22, Sir Keir Starmer, then in opposition, challenged Boris Johnson to suspend all government business with P&O Ferries and DP World until they reinstate the workforce. Because he'd sacked 786 crew members. So he said the same thing about P&O Ferries 2 years ago. It's mental. And apparently, ITV, they're claiming that her comments where she said P&O Ferries were cowboy operators, apparently this was signed off by Downing Street. So she's no went off the cuff with this. She's made these comments, and it appears ITV are claiming that they understand the comments made by Ms Haigh alongside the announcement in which she called P&O Ferries cowboy operators was signed off by Downing Street. These people are mental. We've got them running our country. And they're looking to announce major, they were due to announce major investments in the London Gateway port at this investment summit Monday. £1 billion. Right? And we're out slagging them. And this woman, she's got to be at this meeting. Why would you not have the Transport Minister at this meeting? Might be getting her hair dyed, I suppose. And this was down to the way that they pay their staff. Because they ask them to work sometimes without days off and stuff like that, and they worked it out, they're paying them £5 an hour. But where these staff are working, the Transport Secretary was visiting Dover to announce new legislation which she promised would end controversial fire and rehire practices and force companies to pay seafarers operating from Dover to Calais the minimum wage. P&O Ferries insist the sackings are necessary to save the company from bankruptcy. So this is the old thing again about, right of centre and left of centre, and seldom do they meet, because they've basically said we couldn't afford to keep these workers on, with the terms we need, and they sacked them to keep their company, operational. And the left don't like that because we should pay everybody £10 million an hour and get nothing back in return. So that's where this whole thing comes from. And I think it's just mental that this maniac Transport Minister would say such things, and it appears, according to ITV, that Downing Street signed off on them. Cowboy operators. and suggesting people should boycott them. But can we see Monday, can we get £1 billion off you? Madness. Absolute madness. And I don't know too much about this Haig's background, but with the pink hair and all that, she maybe wouldn't get a job much, in the private sector. And I don't know what her background is, if she's actually had a job outside being in politics, but it's the sort of thing somebody would do in the private sector and get sacked in the spot. Because you're just really upset somebody and put at risk a £1 billion. That's 1,000 million. That's a big load of money, right? They're looking to invest in the United Kingdom. And you're the Transport Minister. You say boycott them and they're cowboys. Absolute bonkers. Anyway, it's probably the one. There's been a lot of stories about Labour over the last few days, but this is the one that I just think is bonkers. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and notifications button. Put some comments in the messages below. But most importantly of all, unless you are Keir Starmer, this Labour government, or any of his mental ministers, no you, but everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.